Is there a way for us to get a hold of the questions so we can answer them a bit more specifically? Because I unfortunately do not have the link, so I cannot
Yeah.
see the questions that were asked to help in answering
More,
the platform specific questions.
yeah, well, it was more like the data sources, what kind of data sets are in, questions about, hey, if we have own data, how can we
Okay.
use it? How can we implement it? How can we do the analysis of the ready-made and the additional data sets? So these kind of questions. And I've a question for you. Like today, I had a discussion with a student team from the Haagse Hogeschool, and they have no or very little previous experience. So one question is also like, how is it without a does it need a lot of guidance for people to yeah, and don't get me wrong, but to play around with, or is it easily accessible and doable?
Okay, to start, before I go into the presentation, because this is also a recorded session, so that is also my answer going out to everybody asked about the data sources. So currently, well, we are offering as a as a sponsor or of the hackathon, the platform that we are offering has direct access through Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2, and Lancet-8 data. Sentinel-2, it is level 2 data. Sentinel-1, it is single look data. And Lancet-8, if I'm not mistaken, both level 1 and level 2 data that could be used. So those are the parts of the backend that we are offering. Sorry, I'm playing. The parts of the backend that we are offering that have integrated Finder models that have their API keys. So you can do your searching of the data from your filtering preferences. So the date, date starting and ending dates, the descending or ascending orbits, for optical imagery, the cloud cover of the image, and also based on your region of interest and the coverage percentage of the satellite image over your region of interest. So you do not have to go off platform for any of that. So there are ways in the platform, and that is already all there and coded and ready to be used by the participants of the hackathon, where they can set their filters, set their desired inputs, and get the data directly without having to go off platform at all. For other data, if the participants want to use other types of data that is not the ones that I mentioned, so Sentinel-1, 2, and Lancet-8, all the data can be very simply imported to the backend platform with a simple rsync command. So it goes into the backend, and then from there, because it is on a virtual machine that we are providing, you get to do with that data whatever is your preferred analysis path or the task that you want to complete. What we are offering is a structure that has a lot of elements pre-made for you, and you don't have to in this short amount of time, let's say, waste your time on spending or wasting too much time on solving issues that we solved for you before. You can just focus on doing the very specific task related issues, and the structure is there to support you. That structure is what we have structured in what we call AI knowledge packs, and they give you both the freedom but also the structure, so everything can be very easily done. So I think that also in part answers your question of how hard it is to get started.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I will send them the recording ASAP, and then
Of
okay.
course.
Kasia, shall we start? Because
I think so, because I sent like the mailer light was sent already, like maybe 5 minutes ago or something, and Discord as well. So I suggest to start, and we can send later this part of the webinar to participants that registered to this webinar, but couldn't.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Just then, if it is okay, very quickly to confirm if you are seeing my screen.
yes, we are.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, then I'll start and I'll keep it a bit brief and not to go into too much details, but try to present the main point of OPNET and our role in this hackathon and how we are supporting this hackathon. So to start, we are a Dutch SME that has developed monitored AI platform. So what is monitored AI platform? It is a high performance, high computing geospatial platform that is capable of combining the capabilities of AI and enhancing the natural problem solving abilities of humans in general. It has a number of functionalities that you can look through in this presentation, but it is end-to-end solution from data acquisition to fusion to analysis and the end publication and visualization of your data in the web-based UI, which you can kind of see in the screenshots on the side here that show you the possibility to visualize your data in 2D and 3D format. So what are we offering the hackathon participants? Well, we are offering a couple of things, but to start, we are offering a compute instances which come with 4 or 8 CPUs, 16 gigabytes of RAM and 100 gigabytes of storage. We are also offering, as I mentioned before, while we were talking, we're offering access to Earth observation satellite data. So it is Sentinel-1 SLC, Landsat 8 level 1 and 2, and Landsat Sentinel-2 level 2A and B. We are also offering open source version of our software, which we call open source of our backend, which we are calling OCLI. In this case, dockerised version of OCLI, which includes the structure of the AIKPs that I mentioned that has a lot of issues and a lot of tasks already solved for the participants to readily use, but also gives the possibility to solve your own problems in this hackathon and in general. It comes included with an empty example of a knowledge pack, which I will come to, and it comes with 3 pre-made knowledge packs that you can use. Those are for making RGB composite based on Sentinel-2, clustering analysis based on Sentinel-1, and media publishing. We also give you a publishing possibilities for your AI data to go to WebUI and the storage capacities that are in the data repositories. And we, at the end, offer, of course, the training before the hackathon for participants who are willing and interested in using our platform during the hackathon. And we are also offering the support for the developers during the duration of the hackathon. So I already mentioned a couple of times this monitored AI. I mentioned OCLI and WebUI, but kind of to give you a bit of an introduction to what it is. So monitored AI is a geospatial platform that consists of 3 main parts, components. It is the backend, which we call OCLI. It is the front end of the WebUI, that is the visualization data repository that you will have access to. and it is the data repository. Data repository is separated into two parts: the data sets themselves and the metadata. This is a bit more complicated version of this architecture, but what I would like to point out here, that you can see the input data coming through the platform can be either through the finders for the satellites payloads that I already mentioned, that are coming in SAFE and HDF file format, or it is raster point cloud data that you import yourself into the into the platform. The backend does everything from data acquisition, pre-processing, image processing, analysis-ready data creation, AI analytics, and publishing in these little packages that we call analysis-ready data. That we call AI knowledge packs. The data then the backend communicates with data repository and the WebUI, and the data repository and the WebUI mutually communicate via middleware and tiler. This is a bit of a more complex structure of the platform, but I will not go into too much details. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of issue with my screen. Sorry. I hope everybody sees my screen, but I'm having a bit of an issue. Okay. So yes, this is a bit of more complicated structure that I will not go into much detail, but everybody interested can dive a bit deeper. But what I wanted to show you and to tell you a bit more is the backend itself. So this is where all the magic happened. So the OCLI, as I mentioned a couple of times already, is a backend system that orchestrates data processing and automation of numerous functions, from data acquisition, fusion, AI analysis, pre-processing, and it is facilitated through AI knowledge packs. When you create a task in the backend, it becomes the instantiation of a knowledge pack and has the abilities to perform all the task that it is coded to do. The platform, as I mentioned, deals with, and the backend deals with multi-source data. So in this case, what I would like to point out here, that it deals and it can deal with drone data, proximity sensors, and Earth observation data. Here it is important to also mention, and I did mention a couple of times, that it is data agnostic, meaning that it can support both optical and radar data, hyperspectral and multispectral data. So every type of data input can be used on the platform itself. The AI knowledge packs, which I've mentioned a couple of times to kind of demystify them a little bit now. So what they are automated, self-contained, and linked Python software modules that perform data finding, acquisition, ingestion, data fusion, data pre-processing, AI processing, and it all concludes in the publication of the newly formed AI product and its respective metadata in their respective data storages. So we have two types of our software of OCLI, the backend, which is a pro version and an open source version. What we are offering during the hackathon is this open source version. So it has the structure and all the capabilities of the backend, but doesn't have that many knowledge packs that we have in our full pro version. Full pro version has around 20, more than 20 currently developed knowledge packs, and it uses a proprietary part of the code for tile-wise processing that reduces time and memory, but it is not part of the open source that is being used now. Every knowledge pack doesn't matter if it's open source or it is pro, uses or has this flow of how you go through it, and you'll have your standard setup, you have your data search or data input and ingestion, depending if you're using definders ingest the Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2, and Lancet-A data, or you are ingesting your own data. Then there is the crux of the platform and the most important part of the platform, which is the creation of the analysis ready data. So this is data fusion and data standardization in order to perform AI analytics on top of your analysis ready data. Finally, everything ends in publication of the data. The analysis ready data, I would like to come back to that for a second, is has two levels to it. So you have the creation of stacks and you have the creation of tensors. If we are looking at satellite data or EO data, you usually have level 1, level 2, level 3. So think of stacks as level 3 data and think of tensors as level 4 data. So and you go from your satellite imagery or your input data, you standardize them into a stack, then you perform certain pre-processing steps depending on the satellite, depending on the payload. You convert them into tensors, and then those tensors can be either visualized or you can apply AI analytics on top of them. This is kind of the very similar flow, which I will very quickly go through just because of the sake of the time. But to show you what I actually want to show you. So this is also quite similar, the flow that I showed you before, but I would like you to take into account that the finder and the processor for Sentinel-2 and SAR data is there, and the part of where we give the structure is shown here because you as participants will only have to worry about this part, making the tensors and performing the AI analysis ready or AIKP specific analytics that you want to perform on your data. The parts of Finder, Processor, and Visualization are there for you and ready to use. I will not spend too much time on the data flow just because of the sake of the time, but it is there for everybody interested. What is the advantage? Once again, I would like to point out the advantage for the hackathon participants and in general, the advantage of the platform like this and the structure of the platform like this is because if you use the input of your domain specific knowledge and you use the existing structure of AIKP, which is written in Python, if I didn't mention that before, you have a very fast and easy way to create new, useful, relevant AIKPs by focusing on just your domain-specific knowledge and having the rest of heavy lifting done for you already in the structure as it is. And then very quickly, as I've mentioned, you have the WebUI. So it is a general data repository of data that is published and quick to interactively explore with advanced querying based on Amazon's Bedrock that uses natural language queries in order to streamline your data retrieval. There is no need for any specific download or setup since it is web-based. This is kind of a very quick overview of the front end, but what I would like to also, I mentioned a couple of times, there are two types of data repositories. You have the cloud object storage and metadata, but that is all covered in as a part of this hackathon. What I would like to come back to considering the front end is that there is a screenshot that you can use, but there is also a YouTube video at the link here at the end of this presentation that takes you to a YouTube video that you can see how the front end itself visualizes and the look and the feel of the front end itself, so you could have a bit more understanding on the look and the feel of the platform itself. And with that, I would like to stop sharing my screen and to double check if everybody heard me. Yes.
We heard you loud and clear, Barbara. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I try to keep it a bit short and to focus a bit more on the certain aspects that maybe were not that emphasized during the first presentation. But I am also here for any additional questions, either now or after, of course, the webinar.
Okay. Are there any questions from the audience about this? I don't see anything in the chat.
There is one question about offering access to high performance computing instances, GPU,
just
or
came
research.
in.
Tailored for specifically research that can handle real-time processing or inference. So as I've mentioned at the beginning, what we are offering in that regards is, let me come back a second. If I can share my screen very quickly again. So what we are offering is this. So this is what will be available to hackathon participants which decide to use OpenNet's solution for the duration of hackathon. So you will have the compute instances with these parameters, and you will have the open source version of the backend with the whole structure of knowledge packs and already 3 pre-made knowledge packs that you can use and or borrow from or manipulate in the way that you find necessary. So does this GC, was this what you meant? Or does this answer the question? So it will be 4 or 8 CPUs and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Sorry, I just saw your answer. We can also have additional discussions if you decide to, because the point of also this is just to present to you the platform and the capabilities. But if you decide to use our solution, there will be training and there will be additional conversations that we can have if you have any specific questions.
I think we also can tell to our audience, if you have any questions right now, you can also unmute yourself and we can have some free discussion if there is some time still from our speakers.
Of course.
So speaker GC, if you would like to, you can also unmute yourself and ask questions and have some live discussion.
And all right, then maybe Mike isn't working with Zoom. Oh, then it becomes complicated. Yeah, then Barbara, it was shown on the slides which I presented. So your email address is there. So
yes, I'm also always ready to answer any questions that may come from the participants, of course.
Okay, so let's then, in case you have any more questions, feel free to use the email, and then you get a written answer. Maybe that's then easy to do. And also, I'm keeping a little bit of eye on the time because, as you No, this webinar is part of the Big Ideas campaign. So a lot of webinars are happening. Hopefully, we were the only one who had a bit of a issue challenge based on the technicalities of the Zoom. But feel free to join other webinars as well. And also definitely feel free to reach out to approach us via email to ask your questions which are related to the presentations or the challenges or the ideas or the solutions you think of developing during the hackathon.